Hello, this is Eddie Bone from English Broadcasting Network. We're interviewing Scilla Cullen, who is the Membership Secretary for the Campaign for an English Parliament today. We're interviewing her as part of our Red Chair interviews. Scilla, I understand that you became a member of the Campaign for an English Parliament back in 1998. What motivated you to become involved in what now really has essentially become an English cause?
Well, back in those days I was reading the newspapers for news of Scottish and Welsh devolution, and I realised that England and English issues were being completely ignored, and indeed I felt that we were no longer a united kingdom. The Daily Telegraph published a telephone number for the Campaign for an English Parliament. I rang them up and I've been with them ever since.
But why was an English Parliament important? Why do we need one?
Well, the Scots, the Welsh and the Northern Irish now have their own separate parliaments and their own separate governments. England is still governed as if it was a vassal of the British state. We have no constitutional political existence, and in fact you can see that in the Encyclopaedia Britannica if you look up the word England. And England is an ancient and proud nation, arguably the most ancient in Europe. And it's not right that culturally, economically and politically we are completely left out of any devolution settlement. And by that, I don't include these so-called devolution settlements or little bits of England, which are just a mishmash of competing parochial areas. England needs devolution for the whole country. We are an ancient nation. We have as much right as the Scots to have our own parliament. The Scottish declaration of their sovereign right for their own parliament was accepted by the British government and accepted by the rest of the UK, and we should have the same.
When you first got involved, you must have been quite hopeful. But 1998 to where we are now in 2018, are you where you expected to be?
No, and I'm quite amazed at the anti-English sentiment there is out there. I've been campaigning on the street and I've been called a racist for standing up for England and the English and an English Parliament. Nobody ever called Scotland, the Scots or the Scottish Parliament racist. And to call our campaign racist actually exhibits racism on the part of those that make that claim. And the other problem that I have, the other thing that has surprised me, is the number of people living in England whose culture and background is of England, who don't see themselves as belonging to England. They see themselves as British, and they can't see the difference between England and Britain. Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland are drawing further and further away, with more and more rights being granted to them and fewer rights for us in England. We are completely ignored, in fact airbrushed out. Our culture has been airbrushed out. We have no say in the economics. The National Health Service, the Police Service and our Education Service has less spent on it than they are able to do in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and nobody cares.
So are you really essentially saying then that England should be independent?
I was never initially a believer in independence. I believed that we could maintain the United Kingdom with a new 21st century union, perhaps federal, but providing each country was still united as a country, a unified country. And I'm definitely coming over to that view. In fact, strangely enough, quite recently, with regard to Brexit, David Marquand wrote an article in which he berated us in England for voting for Brexit and said that we were continually insisting on being different from the rest of the UK. I think unwittingly he made a case for English independence.
Okay, so if people are upset about the system, about what's going on, and see England being unfairly treated, what would you say to them? What would you say to someone who's expressing those sentiments?
Don't just talk about it, do something about it. I can remember talking to a lady years ago on a march, and she was saying that she had sleepless nights worrying about the state of the country. And I said to her, well, if you are that worried, you must do something, because otherwise, you'll just get more and more worried and get depressed. So anybody out there who actually thinks that we have a problem in England, get out and join us.
Thank you ever so much for your time today, Scilla. It's been really enjoyable talking to you.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.